Right. Regarding the topic, just to give you an idea of the jobs that I selected 322 random jobs that were placed in jobsbi.com. And this is one of the, again, this was an idea at one point. I searched through the website for, is there a website that can show me all the BI jobs across the world? I tried to search this for some time, and then I noted, okay, there was one for US, one for UK, but nothing where which could show me all the jobs across the world which are related to BI. No one has tried. So I thought, okay, why not I give it a try? And that's how I set up the platform jobsbi.com. But till date, we have posted over 2,000 BI jobs there. A lot of people have benefited, and because this is the area where people cannot publicly share about it, they share privately with me that they've benefited and so on. When I did this analysis report, it had over 1,000 jobs, and at that point I took, as I said, 322 jobs. Most of it, or 50% of the jobs, were based in Germany. I try to focus more on Germany, but if something comes to my view, then we are also collecting job information about other places. As you can see, the job split by industry. One thing that you have to note is you have to ignore the IT one, the first one. That's because the IT job ads are not for in-house positions. It's basically there is a client looking for a consultant to come in, and then the IT company is actually hiring on behalf of the client. And that client could be in finance or manufacturing or any other industry. And that's why when we collect information about what kind of jobs are there on the IT companies, we cannot give a clear picture of which industry they belong to, because they can go into any of the industries. And the other point to note over there is, what I've noted is that on the when the IT companies post jobs, they're very specific about the technology, whereas when the other industries post jobs, job requirements, they are specific about the domains and not so much about the technology. So they would say, we need someone who has worked on ETL, but not specifically on data stage or ab initio or Informatica. They would say any of these tools is okay. They're looking for conceptual idea about the tool and the business knowledge. Okay. This plus a lot of insights about the analysis that was done is available in this report called Business Intelligence Job Skills and Tools Analysis Report, which is posted on reportpedia.com. When I took that 300 plus jobs, I noted that there are about 250 plus job titles in just 300 plus jobs. And it took a lot of time to actually manually map each of these roles to this category of roles. And then what we see is that the majority of the roles or the requirements are for the developer position. And the least number of roles are for the testing side. And I happened to ask Wayne also about this in the previous round. Why is that? It looks like a lot of people are not aware that it needs there needs to be specific focus on the testing side. People think that, okay, this can be taken care at a later point. And Wayne also mentioned that he gets called in when there is a problem. So some people think, okay, we can do it at a later point, and then they end up in a problem. And I think people like Wayne are called for rescue. And here, one thing to note is when I say team manager here, it's people management. So it could be a team lead or manager of the team or head of the department, but with people management skills. And on the other side, when I say BI manager, it's related to managing the platform as such. So he is responsible for ensuring that the BI solution is in place and it's working, and manage the capacity and so on. What I also did was to split all of the jobs into three types: type A, B, and C. And type B is more of the traditional BI roles. And now I'll just mention briefly about what type A and type C is. Type A is all those jobs where you actually don't code an ETL job, you don't write a report, you use a report, you analyze the data using some tools, built package software, or you're a manager, you're a data analyst, and as such. And on the other side, type C are those who actually code the program itself. So you're not taking a packaged software, you would also use packaged software, but that's not your main focus. And your main focus is also not about enabling business users to get to the data or get to the information or get to the insights. Your focus there is to write code, extract data, and analyze data, build models, algorithms. So the more type C fits into the class where data scientists would fit, for example. So they're not there to enable business users to see the information. They are there to dive into the data, get the information out, get the insights out, model prediction, and then share the business insight to the management, right? So type B is that typical BI role where you're an ETL developer or a report developer or a data modeler, dimensional modeler, and you build the total BI platform for business users to use it. So the focus or the difference between B and C is that in B, you want business users to be enabled to use the information or to be able to get to the information. And on the other side, C is about you diving into there, and you don't care about whether business users are able to access it or not. That's not part of your responsibility. You play like more like an individual contributor there, whereas type B are those who work in a team. And now you see a lot of mix. As I said, there are like 250 different job titles, and each of the titles, if you look at it in detail, you will see that same two titles have totally different descriptions among the, if you look at the job descriptions in two different companies, it's totally different for the same title. And the other way around also happens, that the same descriptions have totally different titles. So this is very much possible. And for example, you can just go to jobsba.com, check 10 of the jobs, and you will see they don't match. And some reasons are, or a couple of reasons. One is there is no standardization on the BI side. This is really lacking. And on the other side, a lot of lack of awareness about which type of role falls under which category. And you see that in some cases, BI is part of a functional team. For example, there is a marketing BI team, and this BI team sits with the marketing team, and on the or with the finance team. And this finance team, for example, in one of the companies which I recently met, they work. 7 of them work in one team, and 3 of them are finance managers, and the other 3 are BI professionals. 4 of them are BI professionals, and they sit together as one team, right? What kind of skills are in demand for that kind of role? The most important one is SQL skills, and that's all put into this bracket of query language. I also did analysis about which tools are in demand, and this analysis is not based on examples. So if a company has posted in the job requirement saying any ETL tools like DataStage, Informatica, I've not taken that into consideration. I have taken into consideration only those explicitly mentioned tools where they've said we need people with Informatica skills, or Informatica expertise is an added advantage, which means they have that and they would prefer someone who has that. So I've taken that into consideration, and when you look at that, this is what we get. As I said, this is not to say that this is the industry trend, but based on the sample that I've taken, this is how it looks. So to move on to the second topic quickly, we're running short of time. What what tips can I give you about BI jobs in Germany? From my understanding and from observation, close observation, let's say, it's not based on any survey, it's not based on any statistics. So let me make that very clear. But based on pure observation and going through in depth about the kind of jobs that I have seen, 90% of the jobs require a German language skills. If you want to work in Germany in BI role, then they expect you to have German skills. And what can you do about that? One tip is there are Goethe institutes all over the world. This is one place where you can actually learn German. And if you think that, okay, you don't have time for that, there's another free app called Duolingo. This is something that has helped me a lot. From my own experience, this is really good. It's free, and I've used it to learn German using English as the transitional language. And the other thing I've noticed is this Learn German with Jenny. She has very good videos. She runs a YouTube channel called Learn German with Jenny. This is also something I can recommend. Now, if you tell me, no, I'm not interested in really learning a new language, but I would still like to get into Germany and get the job, then you still have the option for that 10% of the job. But mind you, there are equally qualified Germans here and who speak very good English, so you'll have to compete with them to get those 10% of the job, get into those 10% of the jobs. So one thing is to increase the competence. And the other thing is, if you're already in Germany, this really makes it easy for you to get into a job. One of the other ways is to get in as a trainee. A lot of people do that here. So you get in as a trainee, as a practicum, and then get to know the business, learn from the seniors, from the other team members, and then you eventually land up in a permanent job. And some of you have asked me about or have informed me that you've been like cheated by some agencies where you try to approach them for a job in Germany and they ask you for money and so on. So I would like to clarify and make it very clear that you don't have to pay anyone. If you get a job offer from a German company which qualifies for a blue card, then you have to pay only for your visa charges. So in case you've been cheated by a company, please don't fall into such traps. The system is very clear. If you get a binding offer, if you get a job offer, that is all that you need to apply for a visa to come to Germany to work. And regarding job searches, where can you search for the job? As I mentioned, jobsphere.com. And this is almost like a community thing that we are carrying out. If you search for a job and you find a job and you think that that job is not interesting for you, you can as well let the admin of JobsBI know, and the admin will post on jobsphere.com, and someone who is searching for the job will find it, and if that person posts a job, and it might be interesting for you. And this is one place where you can start searching. And also now, as you see, business intelligence is no longer good to have. It's not only for those big companies that used to happen in the past, but because of cloud, because of open source, the prices have gone down. There was a high barrier to cross before people could or the companies could go into business intelligence, but that's no longer true. There are smaller companies getting into business or having BI teams. It's almost becoming like a finance team or a HR team, that you run a company of a certain size, then you definitely need a BI team as well. Which means, what does that mean to you? Which means let's say you have a particular expertise, you're coming from finance or insurance or something. Just look up the list of companies in that particular domain. Let's say you're from insurance, look up all the insurance companies that are in Germany. Check their websites and you will definitely find BI jobs there. There are keywords to use and so on. So you just search for data, BI, DWH, ETL, and then you will definitely filter the jobs. And one quick tip on that, please don't apply for jobs which is not relevant to you. That would give a negative picture about you. So see if you fit that particular job and only then apply for it. There are many more tips, but I will quickly run through these 2 tips and then ask you to go through the tips that is written in more detail in this particular blog. And the 2 documents that are expected when you apply for a job is a CV and a cover letter. And the cover letter has to be specific for that particular job. It cannot be a generic item. If you send a generic cover letter, don't even expect a call after that. So it will be right away rejected. And CV, it has to be in this German format, but not necessarily German language. So it depends on the language of the language that is used in the company. So if the job description is in English, this is one tip. If the job description is in English, you can submit your CV in English, even if it's not mentioned over there. There are many more tips. Please go through this.